Welcome to Biohacking with Brittany, a podcast focused on holistic health, nutrition, biohacking, and more. I'm your host, Brittany Ford, registered holistic nutritionist and self-proclaimed biohacker. During the last 10 years, I've focused on healing my gut and hormonal issues through lifestyle changes, nutrition, and of course, biohacks. And now I teach others to do the same. I'm so excited you're joining me today, so let's dive right in. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. I am super excited you are joining me today. I love this episode and I'm excited for this episode because I have one of the core four founders of Füm on here with me today. And Füm is this product that is basically a wooden tool that you inhale and breathe through that has essential oils in it. And I've never seen anything like it. So I love using it every single day. And Braeden Pauls is with me today to talk all about it. So Braeden, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So before we dive into all of the essential oil world, I would love for you to kind of take us back to the inception of this idea, and why you guys even decided to make this company and product in the first place.
Definitely. So, Fume was born out of pretty much trying to innovate better ways to use essential oils. So, the problem that we were solving was my co founders and I, we were using essential oils, specifically peppermint, for when we were working out. In order to open up our airways, help us breathe better while we were working out and improve performance with that. And pretty much the only way to do that, and sort of what the typical was that you take your essential oil, you'd put some drops on your hand and kind of cup your hands over your face and kind of do what would be called tenting and sort of breathe off of your hands and sort of, be able to inhale the peppermint that way. And that was pretty effective in sort of how it would be able to help you. And we liked the performance benefits, but it, in a practicality sense, it's very awkward. It's very wasteful for essential oils. And I don't know if you've ever had the experience, Brittany, and I sure hope not, but if you ever accidentally get peppermint essential oil in your eyes, that is a very negative experience. So that was sort of the problem that we were trying to solve, and we were like, hey, there's got to be a better way to be able to utilize essential oils, and specifically peppermint at that point, to be able to utilize them for their benefits, but not have so much awkwardness with it and make it a lot more accessible. So that was sort of the initial problem that we jumped into, and we're looking for a solution. So pretty much through a bunch of iterations and a bunch of designs, through that came Fume. And sort of since then, we actually brought it to market and released it. And it's been super encouraging because though our initial use of using it for exercise was awesome, people have taken it and actually started using it for a lot more. So people are using it for congestion and allergies, to be able to help regulate moods and build habits. People are using it for quitting smoking. And we keep on getting feedback from customers just sharing about all of the different use cases that they have found that are really effective with Fume and essential oils, and how that's helping people in a lot of diverse ways. So it's very humbling for us, and we started with a very specific solution, but then as we've grown and expanded as a company, we've realized that the potential here with aromatherapy and essential oils and making those accessible is just really a great opportunity for people. And we're really excited to be able to develop a product that can enable that for people.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how it's expanded into so many different ways. I think that's really cool, because people need other options, right? Like for quitting smoking or for stress or whatever it
Yeah.
is. But a lot of people, I think, don't necessarily understand how essential oils even work.
Hmm.
Because, of course, they've been around for so long. And there's I think there's myths around them. And
Yeah.
I just don't think it's very clear. So, can you kind of just break it down for us?
Yeah. And you're completely correct. Essential oils in general as an industry, there's the whole wide variety of opinions on it. You have everything from people who claim that it can cure everything, to people that believe it's completely a farce. And so for us, we're trying to be able to actually educate people and bring a lot more clarity into that space. So essential oils, I guess the way that I like it talking about it is there's two different ways to kind of look at the ways that essential oils affect us. So the first one being physiological, the way essential oils actually interact with, the greater sort of body and the different cells and the different systems, whether that's your endocrine system or your nervous system or your hormonal system, whatever system that is, different essential oils can interact with those different systems in different ways, for different benefits and for changing them, and modifying them. And the second sort of benefit or way of affecting us would be the psychological side. Scent is very linked to memory and to emotion, and that connection there is very powerful. I don't know if you've ever had the experience, Brittany, but like sometimes maybe you go into somebody else's house and you just it has a certain smell, or they're making
Mhm.
cookies or something, and you're just like instantly popped back to your childhood in your grandma's kitchen, and just the positive emotions of that just kind of rush in as you're just smelling some cookies at somebody else's house, or like the scent of boyfriend or girlfriend's cologne, and how that can just be really similar, and you smell that again and all these memories come rushing back. And that's the power of the psychological, sort of effects of scent, is that they can very much change our memories and also bring us back to old memories and be able to change our states in really interesting ways. So yeah, that would be kind of the overview of how essential oils can kind of affect us, and if we want, we can also jump into some other specific benefits and that type of thing as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. I definitely experience that when I will smell like old perfumes.
Yeah.
Um, and it'll take me back to like high school or as a kid, like wearing whatever cheap thing it was, right? Like, and it's so funny how you just kind of associate a certain period of time with this smell. And you never really think about that period of time until it's triggered like that. And I didn't even think about that with your products. And that's so cool.
Yeah, well, and I think it's something that we kind of know, but it hasn't been talked about and it hasn't
Mm.
been used as a tool. Like for example, why do we listen to music when we work out? It's because those specific auditory cues kind of promote a certain state and get us into a certain mindset, and that can actually affect our physiology, right? Like our performance. Like for me, if I'm on a run, it's like my sort of strategy is I would listen to a podcast or something for the first 80% of the run, and then when I'm getting into that point where I really need to push through, I throw in my jam music, and I can feel like I'm, almost at the end of my energy, at the end of my capability. But then that music hits and boom, I find a whole different level of energy, right? And that same sort of principle there, that's with the auditory system that we're doing that. You can do similar things and promote different changes in state with the scent. And that hasn't necessarily been something that we've used as a tool in general, in culture, right? Obviously, we use
Mhm.
diffusers and different things, or it's oftentimes scent is typically something that's more. It just kind of happens, right? Like you walk into an area and it smells a certain way, or you just so happen to smell something, and it's more just kind of incidental that that scent is there. Whereas, what if we actually started to take those scents, control them, and actually use them for specific purposes to enhance our lives? And that's a lot of what we're doing here at Füm, and we're really excited about.
Yeah. That's so true. Like I think of like a spin class, not that those are really happening right now, but a spin class has no specific scent to it. But at the end of the class, if they give you like a towel or a warm towel, it's usually got like eucalyptus on it, right?
Yep.
So you kind of associate almost like calmness or like cooling down or like spa feelings with like eucalyptus.
Yeah.
But what if you just like flip that and you actually like pumped peppermint into the air while you're spinning on your bike? Like that is so cool, and what a new way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, and it's really powerful because everybody's looking for different ways to optimize your performance and to be able to regulate your emotions, and to build memories, to build habits, all of these different things. So if we're able to access some of these different tools and start stacking them
Mm.
together, I think we can have way better results, right? If you're using aroma, if you're using scent, if you're using your environment, if you're using these things all together to promote certain habits, certain mindsets, that type of thing, you're going to be a lot more effective in the long term.
Yeah. And you might as well, right? Like it's not like it requires any more work other than getting like decent products, like
Hmm.
the ones that are actually good quality. Like aside from that, it's not like you have to necessarily do anything more. Just like listening to music, right? And yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think you guys have really like hit the nail on the head in this field. And that's why you're growing so quickly, right? Like no one else is really looking at this.
No, totally. And it's like I said, it's something that hasn't really been tapped into. And then, the closest comparison right now would be something such as a diffuser, which can has similar effects, but there's still a lot of barriers. That's not something that you can bring with you everywhere. That's not something that's
Hmm.
really quick to just kind of pop out and use. And there's still some barriers there. So for us, we're looking at ways that we can really make that accessible for people, that you can really integrate it into your everyday life and actually start building the habits, building those mindsets in an accessible way rather than it being something that's, kind of just incidental where it's like, oh yeah, I like lavender, it smells good. Actually being intentional about that process. And, it's a whole new world. Like, from a biohacking perspective where you can start to learn what works for you, right? Like, how do
Hmm.
I use scent? How do I use this whole sensory experience to be able to promote more of the actions that I'm wanting to have in my life?
Okay, I want to interrupt this episode to talk about Emphies, my EMF blocking underwear for women made by women that is coming very soon. I started developing this back in October when I realized that sitting with an EMF blocking blanket on my lap, working from home, didn't really make sense. And I wanted something very practical and cute and comfortable as well. If I can wear underwear that's going to protect my ovaries when I'm going to wear underwear regardless, I might as well have something that's more functional. It just makes sense. And so I just kind of went on this journey of starting to create them. If you've listened to my personal health story on my podcast, you know that I have struggled with regulating my period and regulating my menstrual cycle. So if I can do something like this to support my ovaries and support my reproductive organs further, I might as well. It doesn't require any extra effort from me except for wearing underwear to protect them every day. And that's why I created them. I created them to help people just like me and help other women keep as healthy as possible. If you want to try them out, if you want to be on the pre-order waitlist, I highly suggest you put your name on there because they're dropping very soon and there's only a limited amount in the beginning. And so if you want to be on the waitlist, you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram, or you can go to biohackingbrittany.com/pages/emfies. That's spelled EMFIES. Very, very easy and very cute. And look out for those. They're coming very soon, coming this spring, and I'm excited. Yeah, I like the idea of combining scent with personalized health or a personalized health protocol for optimal health. Like I think that's really cool. Is there a lot of research behind essential oils? Like I've never personally looked into it, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, there is some research. I wish there was a lot more. I think it's one of the natural health products that is needing a lot further research. There's been a
Mm.
decent amount of research to show the different effects of specific essential oils. But I think largely what's holding the industry back is that oftentimes it's hard to find funding for these type of studies
Right.
because, for example, if we find out that peppermint it really helps with X sort of disease or condition or whatever, that doesn't benefit any specific company, right? That really benefits mankind, which is amazing, but it doesn't benefit a specific company, right? So
Mm.
And that, whereas in the pharmaceutical industry, it's worth it to do all of that research to really validate the findings on different products if a company is going to have those benefits. And for us, we're trying to find a way to be able to democratize that and actually bring those
Mhm.
benefits to people, because that's a tragedy for me, where I think there's a lot of, I think specifically with essential oils, and I think there would be other natural health products that you could bundle into this category. But there's these solutions out there that nature has given us, that can be very effective in improving our health, but they're under researched, they're underutilized because we just don't understand them and we haven't validated how we can use them properly. So for us, we want to be a part of being able to stimulate a lot more of that research. And obviously, the ability of people to research on their own and to be able to receive that information back is really interesting as well. For us as a company, we try to integrate the best of the research that's out there and then talk a lot with our customers about what's working for them and to
Mhm.
continue building that. And in the future, aiming at doing a lot more clinical trials, a lot more studies on these effects to really validate them for the broader market.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, right? Like with drugs, you can patent them and there's a lot of money to be made there. But if it's a natural product, you can't patent it. So the research behind it is less funded. Like it's all kind of rooted in this idea of how much money can we actually make out of this research, or put towards the research. And I've seen like similar issues in other natural health areas. And it's totally right. You're totally right. Like it's unfortunate that that is kind of the reality of the health research state that we're in right now.
Yeah, it's really sad, the lack of research for natural health products in general. And I'm not completely sure what the solution is there. Obviously, for us as a company, we want to be a part of being able to bring more of that research to the forefront and sponsoring that and actually making that happen, because people deserve to have the benefits of these products and to be able to, live a better life because of them. And we know that, I think in general, like I would way rather use a natural solution. It's not that I'm against using a pharmaceutical, but if there's a natural solution, I would rather take that natural solution for the same problem. And if we can actually get that research out there to validate those findings, people will be a lot more comfortable with doing that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if someone wanted to start using your Fume products, where would you recommend they start?
Yeah, it really would depend on what they're wanting to optimize for. Um, let's just take, for example, one of my favorites and what we started with was peppermint. So, peppermint is great as sort of a stimulant and sort of a wake me up, a refresher, and being able to help you focus. So, for example, I use peppermint a lot during my workday when I'm wanting to focus. I actually have peppermint in my fume right now as I'm on this call. But as a focus aid, as something that just sort of wakes you up, makes you aware, and just is a really great stimulant in that sense. And then also on the exercise, peppermint has also been really beneficial, for actually opening up your airways as a vasodilator to be able to actually open up your airways and help you get more oxygen into your system as you're working, which is great as well. So that would be a great place to start for people is peppermint. But there's a lot of other things too. Just really depends on what problem you're trying to solve or how we can help you. One of our other biggest ones that customers are using our product for is quitting smoking.
Mhm.
And there's this reality where there's a lot of people who really value health, they really value wellness, they really want to live their optimal life, but they smoke. And it's this weird thing that they keep in the closet. They've tried quitting a lot of times. They know it's such a paradox that they can be a healthy person, but they still smoke. But they're looking for a way out. And that has been, for us, one of the most exciting things is being able to help people with that specifically and being able to provide a natural solution with that. So, black pepper essential oil has been shown in studies to reduce nicotine cravings. And it's really interesting because there's a lot of the research would show that black pepper essential oils interacts with your respiratory tract in ways that imitate the smoking experience, where lots of the similar nerve endings, the similar sensations that you're getting when you're smoking are imitated by that black pepper and in reducing that cravings. And that research was out there even before we had started Fume. But then with Fume, we not only combine that psychological and physiological experience, we also add into that the tactile experience. And for people specifically that are wanting to quit smoking, it's the need to be able to replace that habit and have something physically in your hand can be such a great tool, because oftentimes it's the quitting process. Like, it's both the physiological dependence on nicotine is one thing, but then the secondary is that actually you're just used to having the habit. You're used to smoking. You're used to, hey, at a certain time in my day or when I feel a certain way, my response is to smoke and to have a cigarette. And so for us to be able to actually have a product where people can replace that habit with something that can help reduce that craving and actually help people transition and quit has been so exciting, because the stats out there on how smoking is affecting people are just staggering. There's over 1 billion smokers in the world, and it's the number one cause of preventable death. Number one.
Wow.
The one thing that we could take action on that could reduce the most deaths in the world is smoking, but we don't talk about it very much because I think in some ways we've kind of given up on it. Obviously, we've seen smoking numbers drop for the most part in the U.S. and Canada, but they're still resting around that 15% of the population. And
Mm.
if you're looking at 15% of the population, and that for that 15% of the population that is on average taking 10 years off their life, this is a big crisis. And the
Hmm.
products out there, and the solutions out there, obviously they've been helping people, but there's need for innovation in this area to be able to help people, and to be able to help people with a solution that's not just trading chemicals for chemicals, but actually giving them a sustainable way to quit that's nicotine free, that's vape free, and natural. Is We're really excited about that and the impact that that can have in the world. So yeah, that's a few of the ways that people could kind of get started with using Fume and improving their life. There's many more. I guess one of the other ones that's coming to mind right now is anxiety. So we actually have a blend that was formulated here by our team that's called Reassurance. So this blend was specifically researched and specifically formulated to be able to help people with anxiety and with stress to be able to slow down, to be able to sort of get that, that nervous system to sort of level down a bit and actually to be able to have more of that restful state. So right now, the world has a lot of stress. I don't
Mhm.
know about you, but I think this is pretty universal that people are going through very stressful things right now. And, being able to actually have that physical, something that you can sort of use and you can breathe with it, and have that also the benefits of that, of reassurance on your physiology, together in this time to be able to reduce that stress and produce calm, like whether that's before your meditation session or before your sleep, however you want to integrate that into your day, to be able to use that to be able to reduce that anxiety and reduce that stress.
I love that. I love all of that. Do you ever, well, so I'm sure you're well aware of the vaping craze that is going on, especially with like younger people, millennials, Gen Z, etc. Um, do you see any of those types of customers kind of come to you and like look for something different, or do you think they're like future customers for you?
At this point, it hasn't been a market that we've focused on, but we've definitely been having people who find us and are so excited about this as a solution.
Mm.
I think in general, people's trust has been sort of betrayed because, there was first, obviously, smoking was the default, and then there was kind of like, oh, vaping, now this is going to be sort of the safe alternative. And now we've found out that that isn't the safe alternative. So we
Mhm.
do get customers that are coming to us and they're like, I am so excited about this. This is something that's natural, something that's from plants. There's no vape, there's no nicotine, but it's something that I can enjoy through my day. So it's definitely been something where people have been coming to us, but that is a huge area that we'd like to expand into, because the amount of people out there who are looking for a solution and wanting to quit, it's not as big as smoking, but it's a very big market, and it's a very big amount of people who are wanting to improve their life in that way, and we have a really great solution. So definitely something that we're wanting to continue to expand into in the future.
Yeah, I actually have some friends who have been addicted to vaping in the past. Um, and they just talk about how addicting it is. And then you also get ones that are like sweet. Like I've never vaped, so I don't specifically know, but you get ones that are sweet as well. So it's also kind of hitting that like sugar craving as well. So they just kind of crave the nicotine, crave the sweetness over and over. And it's scary. And they had to like wean themselves off just like they would smoking. And they said it was actually very difficult. So I think, yeah, I'm curious to see in like 5, 10 years what your market looks like as these kids who are doing that kind of get older and kind of realize how harmful vaping can actually be.
Yeah, well, and it's ridiculous how quickly the vaping market grew, right? And
Yeah.
I think it had a lot to do with, some of the practices of some of the businesses in it were a little bit suspect, and just how high
Hmm.
nicotine the product was, and
Yeah.
then how it also was just so like, those flavors have been lab tested down to every little detail for how can they make them the most satisfying and the most
Hmm.
addictive, right? Like
Hmm.
that's all of the testing that's done in there, and that was very effective as both a marketing campaign and as a product, but it was addicting people. It was keeping people on nicotine and keeping them in that space. So even if it was somebody, that had previously quit smoking but was transitioning to vaping, the amount of nicotine in there, and it wasn't actually a solution for people to get off nicotine and actually get away from addiction. It was just more of a replacement of this for that, which is really sad. And for us, we're proud to say, yeah, like our product isn't addicting, right? Um,
Hmm.
and does that make it so, you know, that means that sometimes people really, really enjoy their fume. They use it to quit smoking or vaping, but then they'll just use it occasionally, and they're not going to use it compulsively and every day and whatever. And from a business perspective, obviously companies would say, "Oh, we want our people to be using our product all the time," and it's like, no, that doesn't matter for us. Like, we want to actually help people live better lives and actually make
Yeah.
a difference in the world, and that's our goal. Not to keep you on our product or to always have you, you know compulsively fuming or something like that. And those practices by other businesses are just really sad. And so for us, we're hoping we can be a solution there and actually help people in a better way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you wanna support people's health, right? Like, that's the goal, which you guys do, which is awesome, and which is why I use your product. So, yeah, I just wanna transition. I was going through your website, and I was reading about how you and your team at Fume give back. Yeah, so your startup supports a orphanage in Kenya, and I find this very interesting because 'cause I'm originally from South Africa, but I also am looking to add a component to my own business of giving back to other people. So, why did you choose this charity and like how did that come about for you?
Yeah. That's a bit of a long story. But I guess the shorter version of the long story would be that we heard of this organization specifically through some personal friends of ours, and we had heard about there was I think it was two Kenyan couples who had seen the need of these orphans in their communities, and just decided that these kids needed to be cared for and that this was wrong that these kids didn't have a home. And they pretty much started taking kids into their house and just caring for them,
Mm.
and very quickly that got up to like 20 kids that these two couples were keeping care of their just in their home. And it wasn't like a formal like orphanage setup, or like all of the paperwork wasn't done right and that kind of thing, because it was literally just people who were caring for kids who were in need, and they were just helping in that way. And that was insane to me, right? And for me, if I guess for us, we want to be about empowering. We want to be about empowering and making positive impact in the world. And for us, there's no better way to do that than to get behind people who are already doing that and doing that really effectively on their own and just excelling that and making it go making it go even further and getting behind those people. So that story was so inspirational to me that these people, even though they weren't, I guess I kind of resonated from a startup point of view. This was an orphanage startup per se, where
Mhm.
they did not have, they didn't have the proper plans, they didn't have the proper facilities, they didn't have, the proper documentation, any of that. But they decided this is something that's worth doing and we're going to care for these kids. So that was sort of what we had heard about, and we just made the decision that that was what we wanted to do, that we wanted to support these guys with $2 Canadian from every fume that we sold. And that it hasn't been an easy thing to do. I know you're probably an entrepreneur as well, and I completely, I would encourage you to do this because it is it's so good to integrate this into your business, and I think this is the way businesses need to be going. But at the same time, as a startup, it's not easy to give up a
Mhm.
portion of that profit because you're trying to grow something and we're trying to get this product out into the world. But we felt deeply that this was something that we wanted to do, and I'm super proud that we did it. I was looking at the numbers the other day. I think last year we fed like 200 kids, like the whole year, every day of the
Wow.
year. What we did as the Fume family, like everybody who is bought a Fume and is a part of our sort of our tribe, and then as well as the Fume crew, like together we supported 200 kids to eat
Mm.
who wouldn't have had food, wouldn't have had shelter otherwise. Um, and for me, it's like obviously I'm really excited about bringing Fume to the world and having that impact and being able to grow this business. But quite honestly, like to be able to say that we were a part of doing that, like that's satisfaction for me, and that's
Right.
so exciting. So we're really hoping to potentially in the next sort of year here actually have a trip with some of our team and actually go to Kenya and visit there and see what they're doing and actually meet everybody there, and to be able to document that even better and share it with our broader audience, and hopefully to be able to connect even more people to give there. And yeah, Brittany, I would 100% recommend it. It's like, I think the best businesses are the ones who really genuinely are trying to serve everybody involved. It's about serving customers super well. It's about serving our staff really well. And then it's about serving a broader community and actually serving everybody really, really well. And we're excited to be able to be a part of sort of a cohort, I think, of a lot of businesses who are really pioneering this sort of way of being in the world. Um, it's really exciting.
I've really been into essential oils lately and not the typical use of them through a diffuser or on your skin, but rather through a natural inhaler made sustainably here in Canada from Canadian maple wood. A lot of people love this inhaler, especially for people who have smoking addictions. So you can use a core or essential oil core that they have that is made out of black pepper essential oil that naturally reduces cravings for nicotine and really helps people quit smoking. I've never been a smoker, but a lot of people really swear by this because it helps with the habit since they can still use the inhaler, and the essential oil on a biological level is really helping reduce the craving, which is awesome. I love using the Reassurance Core blend that they have for stress relief, which has flavors of lavender, cinnamon, and citrus. And I also like using the lavender at night, really to help sleep better and relax after work. If you are interested in trying this out, which I really recommend because there's no other product like this on the market, you can go to the link in my show notes and use my discount code Brittany10 for 10% off. Definitely check them out, especially if you're struggling with stress or smoking or sleep, which a lot of people are, especially this year. Try this out. It's a different application and it really works. They have tons of great reviews and I can see why because I've seen benefits myself. So yeah, again, Brittany 10 is the discount code and check out the link in the show notes if you want to try it today. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's really cool to factor that into your business. No matter how small or how large your business is, like there is a way to go about doing it. Um yeah, and it changes you, right? Like and it changes you as an entrepreneur and it changes you as a person. Um and I know that because like I've done similar things. I've done those trips that you guys want to do. And those are very eye-opening, like very, very eye-opening. And produce a lot of like reality checks,
Yeah.
and kind of like, wow, I have so much. Let me be more grateful in my day to day life because look how many people have so much less than I do. Um, yeah. And so, like, from a personal level, like, I know you kind of touched on this briefly, but like, how has bringing that charity to your business impacted you, like, as a person?
As a person, it motivates me. It motivates me even more
Mhm.
because our success as a company isn't just about our success for our team, isn't just even about our success for our customers, but is about our success, for these kids and literally giving kids food to eat and an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow, and an opportunity to really actually have a chance in life. Like, I don't know, there's no way to put a dollar amount on that. You just can't
Right.
quantify it. Like it's something that it's something that's deeply impacting. And I know even for us, we actually, as a team, we had some of the representatives from that orphanage and from that organization jump on a call with us actually just 2 days ago, and just hearing more of the details of what's going on there, and what we've been able to do. That motivates our whole team, and we measure our success and our ability to give and our ability to grow. So obviously, every business needs to look at things like revenue. It needs to look at, are we serving customers well and are they satisfied? But it's also so exciting to be able to integrate into that as well a metric of, hey, this is how we're having impact in the world. And for me, as a founder and as a CEO, I'm so excited to be able to build something that can actually do to actually serve customers very, very well and to make an impact in that way by making their lives better. Serve our team very, very well by making an impact and making an awesome place to work and being able to steward their gifts, but then also to be able to have that broader impact in culture and in society where we can benefit everybody. And it's like, the more businesses that can do that in the world, the more it's going to make the world a better place. And that is so exciting. And I'm so grateful that we get this chance to be able to build something like this.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm happy for you guys too. I think that model, that business model, more people need to really be doing that and factoring that in. So, where can people find you if they want to try Fume products? Where can they go? Social media handles,
Yeah.
everything.
So if you're looking for Fume product, best place is fumessential.com. So that's FUM essential.com. If you also Google Fume, FUM, you should be able to find us as well. All of our products are on there. We got a great starter pack to kind of get you going on there, with the lavender, eucalyptus, peppermint. And then there's also our blends on our site that you can check out. Lots of great ways to get started on there. As far as following us and being connected with us, we probably are the most active on Instagram. Our handle is Breathe Fume. Um, yeah, we share a lot about what we're doing on there and how we can help you with aromatherapy. As well, there's the blog on our site that includes a lot of info in regards to how you can actually utilize aromatherapy to improve your life. Also on YouTube and on Facebook if you're interested.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on. This was awesome. I love it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brittany.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, feel free to screenshot this episode and tag me if you'd like me to respond. I really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you have a question about your health, my DMs are always open and I'm currently taking new clients. Thanks and see you next time.